Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande, Haribo. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So on this auspicious day of the appearance of Lord Nrsingadev, we will try to speak something of the glories of Lord Nrsingadev. Lord Nrsingadev, of course, his pastimes are described in the 7th canto. Mainly in the 7th canto, we have the appearance of Lord Nrsingadev, and we hear about how Lord Nrsingadev comes to protect his devotee Prahlad Maharaj. But prior to the appearance of Lord Nrsingadev, we hear about Prahlad Maharaj. And it was Prahlad Maharaj who Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very fond of hearing about. Both Dhruva Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj, Lord Chaitanya would regularly hear the pastimes from Srimad Bhagavatam, usually from the mouth of Gadadhar Pandit. Lord Chaitanya would go to temple of Tota Gopinath, and Gadadhar Pandit would be there, and he would recite for the pleasure of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So hearing about Prahlad Maharaj, we want to understand the glories of his devotion for the Lord. Prahlad Maharaj, of course, was born in the womb of the wife of Hiranyakashipu. And Hiranyakashipu wanted his son to get education. Just like modern people today, they're very anxious to have their children educated. You know, people in India, they want to send their children maybe to Europe or to even America or Australia to get their education. We see so many of the wealthier people in India, they like to send their children overseas for education. It's true. It's true in many countries of the world. I know in China also. In China, people also send their children overseas for education. Sounds like Bhakti Purushottam Swami moved outside, huh? Okay. Maybe I would be better in the temple room. He was supposed to be in the temple room. Huh? I can't hear what you're saying, Prabhu. Huh? You can hear me okay? Okay, it's just not ideal. You know, I'm speaking against him. You can hear, but I have to speak against him. Anyway, we're talking about education. Hiranyakashipu wanted his son to get good education. And Hiranyakashipu, he's the king of the demons. He wants him to get educated as a good demon. Just like people today. They want their children to be educated as good materialists. They're materialistic. They want their children also to be materialistic. So, Hiranyakashipu sent his son to the Gurukula to get education. And after his son had been there in the Gurukula, of course, in the Gurukula, the two sons of Sukracharya were the teachers, and they were teaching Prahlad Maharaj what he didn't want to know. They were teaching him about politics, how to deal with your enemy. But Prahlad Maharaj, we were hearing just now, if you heard Jayapataka Swami Maharaj's class, that Prahlad Maharaj had no enemy. He didn't see anyone as friend or enemy. He saw everyone the same. Jayapataka Swami quoted the verse from Kapila Shiksha, Titikshava Karunika Suridam Sarvadehinam Ajata Shatrava Shantu Sadhava Sadhubhushanaha. Right? The qualities of the devotee. They're tolerant, they're merciful, they're friendly to everyone. They don't make distinctions between friends and enemies. They see everyone the same. But the Gurukula, for the demons, they were teaching how to deal with the enemy, right? How you deal with them. First of all, you give them the instruction, you give them the order. If they don't follow, then you try to bribe them. You give them a little inducement. Listen, if you do what I say, I'll give you, you know. Politics, it's politics. And then if they still don't agree, then maybe you have to put them in jail. Some politicians do that. There's some countries, if you're the enemy of the political party, they'll feed you to hungry dogs. They keep some hungry dogs, and those people who are the enemy, they just feed them to the hungry dogs. You become food for hungry dogs. Not a very pleasant way to die, is it? Anyway, this is politics. This is what they do. They They're so desperate for power. Hiranyakashipu wanted his son to follow in his footsteps. Hiranyakashipu is the emblem, he's a personification of material desires. Material desires. Everyone, we have desires. We are trying to purify our desires. Hiranyakashipu, he's not interested in purifying his desires. He wants to satisfy his desires. For everything illicit and everything which can satisfy his senses, that's what he wants. So Prahlad Maharaj was in the Gurukula to get this kind of education. And after being in the Gurukula, he came to visit his father. And his father wanted to know, what was the best thing you learned from your teachers? And Prahlad Maharaj narrates to his father that I have learned from my teachers, the best thing is that if I am in the conception of I and mine, if I am thinking I am the body and this is mine, if I am in the bodily conception of life, then I am like a person in a blind well, in the bottom of a well. And the best thing I can do is to go to the forest and to live in the forest. In other words, vanaprast. Right? Sometimes we preach to people, you know, Prabhu, you're getting a little older now, you should think about vanaprast. And they look at you, you know. They don't much appreciate it. You know, they're not really thinking about it. Although so many grey hairs are there. We see the grey hairs, maybe even there's no hairs. And we see time is showing us the influence that our time in this material body is coming to an end. We should get ready to leave the body. We should really detach from the material world. But we're trying to hang on. We don't want to give up. We want to stay. We want to live longer. Give me a little longer. All right? Prabhupada told, he had a friend, the doctors told him, oh, you're going to die. He said, oh, doctor, please give me 4 more years. I just need 4 more years. The doctor said, sorry, I cannot do anything to help you. This is the nature of materialistic people. They're trying to prolong their life. They don't recognize that the life is coming to an end. Hiranyakashipu, of course, he wanted the benediction that he would be immortal, that he would never die. And he made, in this way, he made so many conditions in his dealing with Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma gave him these concessions. But still he died. And so we learn from Hiranyakashipu many things. If we're willing to learn, we can learn many things from him. So he had asked Prahlad Maharaj, what was the best thing you had learned? Prahlad Maharaj told him about going to the forest. You know, this was not what he wanted to hear. He wanted to hear how to deal with the enemy. How to deal with the enemies of the demons, the demigods, right? They're always at conflict with each other. There's Daivi Sampat and Asuric Sampat, and they're directly opposed to each other. So Hiranyakashipu was always anxious to curb the demigods. He'd conquered the demigods, he'd taken control of heaven. He was so powerful, even the demigods were having to serve him. So Prahlad Maharaj had not satisfied his father. His father was really upset to hear what Prahlad was explaining to him. So he instructed his teachers, be very careful. Don't let any of any other people influence the mind of my son. You know, you get that from materialistic parents. Even Mother Sachi, she didn't like her son going to Advaita Acharya. Vishwarup, the oldest brother of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was going to hear from Advaita Acharya. And she saw the result, that because Vishwarup was going regularly and hearing from Advaita Acharya, eventually when Mother Sachi and Jagannath Mishra decided it was time to arrange the marriage of their son, Vishwarup left. He left home, never to return. And Mother Sachi was really lamenting her oldest son gone away from home. She felt very not pleasant. So much so they didn't want Lord Chaitanya to even study anymore. They thought if our Nimai studies, he may follow his older brother. That will be terrible. That if both our sons become sannyasis, it will be terrible. There will be nobody to take care of me. Right? We think like that. We think about her. Of course, Mother Sachi, she's a little different. She's the eternal mother of the Lord. Anyway, Hiranyakashipu wanted Prahlad to be protected. Don't let anybody influence the thinking of our son. So Prahlad was back in the Gurukula, and the teachers were having difficulty to teach Prahlad, because the teachers were teaching, make distinction, friend and enemy, demigods and demons. But Prahlad could not think like that. Prahlad could only think, everyone's equal, see everyone the same. See Krishna in the heart of everyone, spirit souls. So Sanda and Namarka, the two sons of Sukracharya, they came to Hiranyakashipu to complain about Prahlad. That this son of yours, he is not taking our education. So Hiranyakashipu calls for Prahlad, and he asks Prahlad, what is going on? What have you learned from your teachers? And Prahlad Maharaj said this time, I have learned that hearing, chanting, remembering, serving the lotus feet, offering prayers, worshipping, I have learned that these are the best things. That this is the best education. Worshipping Vishnu. And when Hiranyakashipu heard this, then he flipped. That was, it was unbearable for him to hear how his son was promoting devotional service to Lord Vishnu. Because Hiranyakashipu was the sworn enemy of Vishnu. Lord Vishnu had killed his brother Hiranyaksha. So Hiranyakashipu was the sworn enemy. He hated Vishnu. And here is Prahlad, his own son. And he's advocating devotional service to Lord Vishnu. Serve Lord Vishnu. Hear and chant about Lord Vishnu. That is the best of education. So Hiranyakashipu wants to understand, where did you get this from, Prahlad? Who gave you this bhakti? When we have some fault, you have some bad habit or something, they want to know, where did you get this from? Who taught you this? So Prahlad Maharaj replies to his father that he says that People who are absorbed in the bodily concept of life, people who have made their vow to stay in the home, Grihavrat, they've made this vow to remain in their family, in the bondage of family life, and to serve their uncontrolled senses. They're going on the path to hell. And they're simply chewing the chewed. Adanta gobir vishatam tamijram puna punas charvita charvananam, right? They're chewing what has already been chewed. This is the foolishness of materialistic people. Prahlad Maharaj does not immediately reply to the question of his father. His father wanted to know, where did you get this bhakti from? But Prahlad first of all says to his father that you won't get this bhakti, you don't have to worry, you're never going to get bhakti, because Prahlad Maharaj said, even you try for it by your own endeavor, or by instructions of others, or by a combination of both, there's no way you're going to become devotee, because your senses are uncontrolled and you're so attached to bodily comforts. So you're on the path to hell. So this was Prahlad's first reply to his father, that without controlling your senses and without giving up all of this sense gratification, there's no way you're going to save yourself from going to hell. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna also says, Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam taya parita chetasam vaya vasayatmika buddhi samado na vidiyate. Right? Though in the minds of those who are attached to material opulence and sense gratification, the resolute determination for devotional service does not take place. So Prahlad Maharaj tells his father, you don't have to worry, you're not going to be affected. And Prahlad then continues, he talks about Natevidu swa-arta gatim hi Vishnu dur-ashaya yegati artamanena. He says that those who are in this bodily conception of life, they accept for their leader, for their teacher, they will accept another person who is in the same consciousness, who is also in the bodily concept of life. And in this way, they never achieve the goal of life. They're like a blind person. And if a blind person will take shelter of a blind person, then you cannot expect to get any good result. If a blind person follows another blind person, they will go into the ditch. Prahlad Maharaj is using this example to explain to his father that you've taken shelter of Sukracharya. Sukracharya is the guru of the demons. And the two sons of Sukracharya, they were supposed to be Prahlad's teachers. So Sukra means semen, and Acharya, teacher. In other words, he's a teacher by seminal descent, not by actual spiritual qualification. And if you simply accept a teacher on the basis of that bodily conception of life, you cannot expect a good result. Just like smarter Brahmins. Smarter Brahmins, that means they're born in the Brahmana family. So they will accept another smarter Brahmin for their teacher. He should also be born in the Brahmana family. And they claim that the qualification of the teacher is by birth. Now, in Krishna consciousness, it is not like that. Rather, the qualification is Shrotriya, by hearing. You have to hear from the teacher. The materialistic people, they go and they select their guru based on birth. What kind of family are you from? What is your gotra? What is your caste? Like this. But the actual process of selecting the spiritual teacher is you have to hear. You have to hear from the person. Those of you who have attended the ISKCON disciple course, you will know there how do we select the spiritual teacher. Prabhupada explained that we have to hear from that person for 1 year. And you should, after hearing for 1 year, then you should be convinced that this person can help me. He can change me. He can save me from materialistic life. So Prahlad Maharaj, by speaking to his father, telling him about you're like a blind person, he's warning him about just simply selecting the teacher based on simply birth. That is not the correct process. We have to hear and we have to inquire. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Like that. This is how we get spiritual knowledge. You don't make spiritual advancement just simply by considering the material birth. That is not going to help. So then Prahlad Maharaj continues. Where did he actually get this knowledge from? Naishammatista. He says, you have to take the dust from the feet of the pure devotee. You take that dust from the feet of that devotee who is niskinchana, who has no material affection. And you take that dust and smear it all over your body. This is how you actually get bhakti. Naishammatistavat urukramangrin sprishati anarta pagamo yat arta mahiyasham padarajo vishekam niskinchananam ya nivritti yavat. Right? We have to get rid of the anartas. We have anartas. We have dirty things in the heart, unwanted things in the heart, and they can be removed by contact with the pure devotees, by those devotees who are actually niskinchana, who have given up any affection for enjoying the material world. We have to, the Abhishek, you have to take the, just like we're going to do Abhishek for Lord Nrsingadev, we have to bathe our whole mind and body in the dust from the feet of these devotees who are niskinchana. And in this way we can actually get bhakti, not by any other way. This same point comes out again in the 5th canto where Jadbharat was carrying Maharaj Rahugan. When Maharaj Rahugan complained that Jadbharat was not carrying the palanquin properly, And he began to chastise Jad Bharat. He said, I'm going to beat you if you don't carry the palanquin properly. And then Jad Bharat began to speak spiritual knowledge. And Maharaj Ruhugan was amazed because he thought that Jad Bharat was Jad. He thought he was Jada. He thought he was really stupid. He thought he was an imbecile. He didn't know he was actually an enlightened soul. And when Jad Bharat began to speak and enlighten Maharaj Ruhugan, then Ruhugan asked, where did you get this from? Where did you get this bhakti from? Where do we get it from? The only way we have to take the dust from the feet of the great devotees. How do you get that dust? Prabhupada would sometimes say, even Prabhupada would be in the temple, and he would say, nobody should touch my feet. How are you going to get the dust from the feet of the pure devotees? Well, where they walk, you can take that dust. After they walk, there's always that dust there. Take that dust. But actually, Prabhupada would say, rather than just simply touching the feet, bring me my slippers. This was Prabhupada's instruction, how you get the blessings of the pure devotee. By service. Mahat sevam dwaram mahur vimuktes tamo dwaram yoshitam sangi sangam. By serving the Mahatmas, it opens the doors to liberation. We have to serve the devotees. Then we will get rid of the anarthas from the heart. We know we have anarthas in the heart. This anartha nivriti, this is the most demanding of all the process of devotional service, to get rid of these anarthas. And the most effective way is by the blessings of the great souls, the blessings of those who have got rid of the anarthas. So we take shelter of Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada's teachings. And in this way, we can properly clean our hearts. An important instruction in relation to the teachings of Lord Nrsingadev comes in the 5th canto. Because in the 5th canto, we have prayers offered by the residents of Jambudweep. Those of you who are studying Srimad Bhagavatam, you'll remember in the 5th canto there's descriptions of the universe, and we hear about Jambudweep. And in each different section of Jambudweep, there's a different form of the Lord. So it describes that in Harivarsha, Lord Nrsingadev resides there. If you go to Jambudweep today, and you go to Harivarsha, Lord Nrsingadev is there. And Lord Nrsingadev is worshipped there by all the residents, including Prahlad Maharaj. And they all offer a beautiful prayer to Lord Nrsingadev. A prayer which is very important for all of us. Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya Namastejas Tejase Avir Bhava Brajanaka Brajadamstra Karma Shraya Randaya Tamo Grasa Om Swaha Abhayam Atmani Bhuvishtam. O my Lord Nrsingadev, who possesses nails and teeth like thunderbolts, kindly vanquish my demonic-like desires for fruitive activities. Please appear in our heart and drive away our ignorance so that we may become fearless in our struggle for existence in this material world. So this prayer is offered to Lord Nrsingadev to help us to get rid of our fruitive desires, our fruitive mentality, the desire to enjoy material world. And that's why we worship Lord Nrsingadev. We want to get rid of these material desires. So Prahlad Maharaj and the residents of Harivarsha, they all pray to Lord Nrsingadev in this way. Please appear in our heart, drive away our ignorance. Ignorance is the cause of material desires. The root cause of all sin is ignorance. We want to get rid of that ignorance by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, by offering prayers to Lord Nrsingadev. Like on this very special day, we pray to Lord Nrsingadev. Please appear in our heart so we might become fearless in our struggle for existence in the material world. Material world, everyone is concerned with four things: eating, sleeping, mating, and fearing. We live in fear. We live in fear. Of course, we're in fear of death. We're in fear of old age, in fear of disease. We live in fear of these things. We live in fear that we may lose all of our worldly opulence, all of our possessions, all of the things we're attached to, our family members, our home. We're all in anxiety how to keep these things. We have to pray to Lord Nrsingadev to remove all of these obstacles. Generally, people had the custom, they would take shelter of Lord Ganesh to remove obstacles. Because we think of Lord Ganesh as destroying the obstacles on the path of devotion. But when we come to Krishna consciousness, we don't so much look to Lord Ganesh to do this. Instead, we take shelter of Lord Nrsingadev, because it's Lord Nrsingadev who can actually destroy the obstacles on the path of spiritual progress. We want to take shelter of Lord Nrsingadev. He is Vigna Vinash Narasimha. He destroys the obstacles on the path of devotion. We have to take shelter. So here in Mayapur Dham is a very good place to take shelter of Lord Nrsingadev. We're so fortunate. We have the deity of Lord Nrsingadev here. Lord Nrsingadev appeared to protect the devotees. Previously, our temple had been attacked. Some dacoits had come and they tried to steal the deities from the altar. At that time, we didn't have the big deities. We just had small Radha Madhava. But some dacoits thought that these deities are gold, and they came to steal the deities. And they even threw bombs, and they blew off the leg of His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Swami. So after that incident, the devotees met together and they thought that it would be nice if we could also bring Lord Nrsingadev here, that we could take shelter of Lord Nrsingadev and he will protect the devotees. Because, you know, Mayapur, especially 1970s, early 70s, there were not many people here. It was a remote place. It was like a jungle, not so much people, very quiet, dangerous. So we thought Lord Nrsingadev would certainly help to give shelter for the devotees. So Lord Nrsingadev deity was brought here, and we've been worshipping Lord Nrsingadev since then. Of course, Lord Nrsingadev is also there just over the Jalangi. There's a place called Nrsiнгapali. And it is said that Lord Nrsingadev came there after he'd killed Hiranyakashipu. He had actually come there and he took rest there at that place known as Nrsingsapali. And that's how the deity of Lord Nrsingadev appeared there. That Lord Nrsingadev came there, he rested there, and all the demigods, they all followed Lord Nrsingadev. They're also there. Devapali is there on the other side of the Alakananda, which is just there at Nrsingsapali. So Lord Nrsingadev has his connection here in Mayapur. And we know also in the Kali Yuga, Lord Nrsingadev also appeared here in Mayapur. He appeared to one person, the Chandkazi. Right? The Chandkazi, he got darshan of Lord Nrsingadev because he was stopping the Sankirtan and he'd broken the Madanga. So that night when he was resting, Lord Nrsingadev appeared on his chest and grabbed him by the throat and instructed him very clearly, don't you ever interfere with my devotees. Don't you ever break my Madanga. And Lord Nrsingadev gave a little taste of what would be in store if he dared to do ever such activities to harm the devotees. Lord Nrsingadev drew his nails across the chest of the Chandkazi. And the Chandkazi told to Nimai Pandit, because Nimai Pandit had come there with all the devotees to protest that you cannot stop the Sankirtan. So the Chandkazi told Lord Chaitanya how he had a visitor that night, an unexpected visitor, and the Chandkazi also showed the marks on his chest to show that Lord Nrsingadev meant what he was saying. And so Lord Nrsingadev comes here, he appeared here to protect his devotees. Right? Lord Nrsingadev, half lion, half man. The lion is appropriate because Lord Nrsingadev is like a lion. The lion is ferocious to anyone, but very gentle to his own cubs. The lion will be very gentle with his own cubs, but any other person comes, the lion is ferocious. So Lord Nrsingadev is very gentle with his devotees, but very ferocious with the non-devotees, those who are the enemies or those who are opposing the devotees. And we saw in the Srimad Bhagavatam it's described after Lord Nrsingadev appeared and killed Hiranyakashipu, he was in a very angry mood and no one could pacify him. And even Lakshmi, his own consort, came and she was not able to pacify him. And Lord Brahma came, he was not able to pacify him. So many different demigods all came, they were not able to pacify Lord Nrsingadev. But it was only when Prahlad came, and Prahlad came and offered his obeisances to Hiranyakashipu. Then Hiranyakashipu was pacified, and he was so pleased to see Prahlad. And he put his lotus hand on the head of Prahlad and instilled in his head divine knowledge so that Prahlad could offer prayers. Lord Nrsingadev picked up Prahlad and placed Prahlad on his lap. So it said from that time on, the Lord got the taste for Vatsalya Ras. Previously, there was no Vatsalya Ras. Before Lord Nrsingadev, you've got Kurma, Matsya, Varaha. You know, there's no Vatsalya Ras. There's no taste of being the parent. But when he comes as Hiranyakashipu, when he comes as Lord Nrsingadev to kill Hiranyakashipu, he picks up Prahlad and puts him on his lap, and his hand, and he's thinking, oh, so nice to have a son, to have a child. Oh, so nice. He got some taste for this kind of rasa. Previously, the Lord never had that taste before. But after Lord Nrsingadev, he got that taste to be the father. And so you see in other incarnations, you can see he's enjoying something of this mood. So on this day, we always, when we offer worship to Lord Nrsingadev, we first of all offer to Prahlad Maharaj. Usually we would worship Lord Nrsingadev first and then Prahlad. But on this day, we worship first Prahlad Maharaj and then Lord Nrsingadev. Because it's Prahlad Maharaj who is the most dear to Lord Nrsingadev. By pleasing the devotee of the Lord, Lord Nrsingadev is pleased. So when you're offering your puja to Lord Nrsingadev, first of all, worship Prahlad, and then Lord Nrsingadev on this day. This is how we show our respect and our gratitude to the Lord and His pure devotee. All right, are there any questions? Anybody has any questions or comments? Yes, Prabhu? With how to have that prayerful mood, we don't have the ability to offer prayers so nicely. How to have that prayerful mood? Well, we can offer the prayers which Prahlad offered. You can recite the same prayers of Prahlad. If we ourselves don't feel confident to compose nice prayers, then simply offer the prayers of Prahlad. And we can also offer the prayers of Jayadev Goswami, which we regularly sing from the Gita Govinda. We offer, when we worship Lord Nrsingadev, you can offer like that. Actually, the worship of Lord Nrsingadev was introduced. Prabhupada taught us that we could put the picture of Lord Nrsingadev on the altar. What happened was Prabhupada was very ill at one point, and some heart problem, some health issues. So we all asked Prabhupada, what can we do for your protection? So at that time, Prabhupada taught, he said, take a picture of Lord Nrsingadev and place it on the altar, and after arti, every day, after you offer the arti, then you can sing the Nrsinga Stotra, right? Which is from Jayadeva Goswami's Gita. It's the Das Avatar Stotra, which is the beginning of the Gita Govinda. So in the Das Avatar Stotra, we sing the verse to Lord Nrsingadev. And this is a very nice prayer. This is very pleasing to Lord Nrsingadev. You can simply follow in the footsteps of these great devotees. If you're not sure how to pray yourself, follow their prayers. Yes? Yes, Prabhu?
So we are also going to hell, or like we will not get bhakti because like we are also have some material desires and we are like attached to body also. Like
We're attached to the body, we have material desires, so are we all going to hell? Well, I hope not. Yeah, we need the mercy, right? So take the mercy, because we're getting a lot of mercy from the Krishna consciousness movement. Who are going to hell? The Hiranyakashipu people, the followers of Hiranyakashipu, they're going to hell. But the devotees, no, they're never going to hell. They're going back to Godhead. They're following Krishna, Lord Nrsingadev. We're following Lord Chaitanya and Prabhupada. Prabhupada had was it Prabhupada? He had a devotee had a dream, or Prabhupada had a dream, I can't remember now, but people were drinking. People were drinking, but then the drunkards were starting to chant Hare Krishna. And Prabhupada said, yes, this is very nice. The drunkards are all starting to chant Hare Krishna, becoming devotees. So then a devotee said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, were any devotees becoming drunkards? And Prabhupada said, no, impossible. Devotees, their names are already in the book. They're going back to Godhead. Right? Because they're devotees, their spiritual life has begun. Okay, we still have some material desires, we're still in bodily concept of life, we have attachments, but we know about it. And we're trying, we're working on it. Just like if you're dirty, but if you're in the shower and you're taking bath, we cannot criticize you. Right? Because you're in the shower. In time you'll get clean. Now we've come to Krishna consciousness. We're chanting, we're taking prasadam, we're hearing the Katha. Gradually these material desires are diminishing less and less. We don't notice it, but it's happening every day, every moment. Every time you chant Hare Krishna and you take part in the Krishna conscious activities, your material attachments are diminishing less and less. You're getting more and more taste for Krishna. And this way your life is successful. Yes? Yes, Prabhu has a...
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam for a very inspiring class. You started your class by saying that education is very important. Can you give us some tips as a devotee parent? We are staying where there are no gurukuls. How to raise our children in a Krishna conscious environment?
Oh, that's really a difficult question. How to raise our children in a Krishna conscious environment when there's no gurukulas? Well, everything depends on the parents in that situation. Parents are also guru. So you have to be the perfect example for your children. They have to see that you also chant, that you also get up early and you worship Krishna and you study the scriptures. So that example is very, very important for the children. And they have to see that from birth, from the beginning of their life. They have to be trained like that. Without that training from the beginning of life, then it's a little difficult. It's a little difficult to change. Just like sometimes you get the parents, a little later in life, they take to Krishna consciousness and they want to be vegetarian. And then the child said, I want meat. Mommy, I want meat. It's a difficult situation. Sometimes it's like that. The children they've been brought up eating meat. They were not brought up to be vegetarian. The parents want to change, the child doesn't want to change. Very difficult situation. What are you going to do? Well, it's you brought the child up to eat meat. It's your fault. It's nobody else's fault. What we bring the children up, how they are, we're responsible. We have to take the credit or the blame. So yes, bringing up children is very difficult. It really is not an easy task. We know that. But if you yourself, if you are patient and tolerant and determined, then gradually you can win them over. Just like if you cook nice food, the child will want to eat. If you can cook properly, if you can cook nice, tasty vegetarian dishes, then you can lure your child away from meat. Prabhupada went to the West. At that time, nobody was a vegetarian hardly, but Prabhupada cooked so nicely, everyone was happy to eat Prabhupada's cooking. The food Prabhupada cooked was so tasty and so satisfying, nobody ever said, I want to eat meat. It didn't happen. People were happy because Prabhupada knew how to cook. He could cook wonderfully. And he would cook kachoris, samosas, gulab jamuns, halava, everything, he would make wonderful prasadam. And devotees would be in ecstasy. And the kirtan also, nice kirtan. Of course, if your children have an interest, then it's very good. Encourage them. You try to organize kirtan and do kirtan, and the children will want to join in the kirtan. They'll want to learn. If they can learn, if they have an interest to learn the drum or play kartals or so, then that's very good. You want to try to encourage them, get a teacher for them that they can learn. And then also, you have to try to have some nice Krishna conscious entertainment. Education should be fun. You have to make it interesting. Just like we have dramas, Krishna, today usually there'd be the drama of Lord Narasimha. I'm sure many centers they'll have the drama of Lord Narasimha. So like that, you have to be a little inspired and think how to make this attractive to your children, that they want to become devotees. We cannot force, but you have to attract them. This is the idea. So some people, they're very good at it. They actually, they have a natural ability to teach and to make a nice program. So if from the beginning of your life, if from the beginning the children are brought up like that, then it's much easier. Later, beginning, it's more difficult, harder. But we wish you good luck. It's certainly required. We do want our children to become devotees. If our children don't become devotees, in the future there may be no devotees. If your children are not going to be brought up to be devotees, who are going to be the devotees? Don't think that we can keep on converting people to Krishna consciousness. It's not usually like that. But people come to a faith, a path of religion, and they will stay in that path. If you look at the other Vaishnava Sampradayas, they're in that line. The whole family, generations, they were all Sri Vaishnavas, or they were Madhvas. like that. We want, once people come to Krishna consciousness, that they will stay in Krishna consciousness. And their family will also be in Krishna consciousness. It's very important. Yes, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada in one of the purports in the 7th canto describes how Prahlad Maharaj's preaching was indirectly effective, and it seems in an innocent way that he was preaching to a faithless person.
Can you hold the mic?
He was preaching it seemed like Prahlad was preaching to a faithless person, inflaming the fury of his father. So we're told not to preach to the faithless. Can you?
What?
We're told not to preach to the faithless.
Preach to the faithless. Well, is Prahlad preaching to the faithless? What we don't, there's certain things we don't preach to the faithless. We don't preach the intimate glories of the holy name. Right? So, but we do have to awaken faith in the faithless. So Prahlad's preaching was with that intention, to awaken faith in his faithless father. So we do need to preach to people, but we don't preach the intimate glories of the holy name. We don't preach to them Rasa Leela. We don't tell them that, oh, by chanting Hare Krishna you can counteract all your sins. You know, can go on doing sins and chant Hare Krishna. They'll think like that. You know, you have to be careful what we preach. We preach what Prahlad is preaching, you're not the body. Prahlad is preaching about aham and mamiti, the bodily conception of life, and the danger of attachment to material sense gratification. Prahlad is preaching about a need to see equality, to see everyone equally, and not to discriminate against people, thinking friend, enemy, I like him, I don't like that. This is all, that's the business of the mind. So Prahlad was preaching what his father needed to hear. He didn't preach the intimate, the very confidential topics. So we don't preach the confidential things to non-devotees. We have to awaken faith. We have to tell people you're not the body, you're serving your senses. Your uncontrolled senses are giving you so much trouble. You have to control your mind, you have to control your senses. And so we can preach like that, gradually awaken faith. But we don't preach the confidential topics to faithless persons. And that's why Krishna's pastimes are in the 10th canto. They come in the 10th canto. When you've gone through the first 9, then you can come to the 10th canto. And you're ready to hear about Lord Krishna. First you have to hear about creation. How does Krishna create the material world? You have to hear Srishti Tattva, the topics of creation. Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Shirudakashaya Vishnu. We have to hear these things. The preliminary knowledge. You have to understand how the Lord has inconceivable energies. Achintya Shakti. If we don't accept that Krishna has Achintya Shakti, inconceivable energies, then we will never understand the pastimes of Krishna. And this, people don't. Ordinary people don't understand the pastimes of Krishna because they never studied Srimad Bhagavatam from the beginning, and they never studied Bhagavad Gita. They just simply heard Rasa Leela. So finished, ruined. They're ruined. Very difficult to re-educate them. So very important, education. We try to educate people in Krishna consciousness. We have many seminars. We have the ISKCON Disciple Course, we have Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Vedanta. In the future there will be Bhakti Sarvabhauma. All of these things. More and more seminars, more and more opportunity for education. Here in Mayapur we have the NDP, New Devotee Program. Right? The NDP, many devotees, they go there. They're greatly benefited by taking part in the New Devotee Program. They get training. When I joined the Krishna Consciousness Movement, we were out on Harinam the first day. Here's a book bag, Prabhu, go out the door, go out there in the street, see how many books you can sell. You know, that was the program. We were trained on the street. Nowadays we try to train devotees a little better. What are you going to say to people when you meet them on the street? How are you going to deal with people? You know, education, training, very important. We didn't really have the facility or the know-how how to do it in the beginning. But nowadays, much more organized, much more education. But still some people don't take advantage. They don't want education. Oh, I'll just chant Hare Krishna. Yeah, you cannot imitate Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur can just chant Hare Krishna. But we cannot be Haridas Thakur. We need education. We need to hear. We do need to study Prabhupada's books. Alright, any other question? Alright, maybe we will stop here then. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. His Holiness Bhakti Vignu-Nashak Narasimha Swami Maharaj ji ki jai. Thank you Maharaj for a wonderful and amazing enlightening lecture on Nursing Katha. And this is again reminding announcement. So today on this auspicious occasion, every devotee can secure a copy of Bulldozer